Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Well, when our baby is about to start their solid food journey around 6 months, we have a lot of questions in our mind, like what should be our baby's first food? Should we give them fruits or vegetables? Should we include dairy products in their diet? If yes, then which dairy products should we include? Should we give them dry fruits and nuts? What about the processed food like Cerelac? Should we give them salt and sugar? What about the spices that we can add in their food? And the list goes on. Well, today I'll talk about all of these questions and a lot more. So, let's get started. The environment in which we grew up was completely different than the one in which our babies are growing up. So, a lot of decisions that our parents or grandparents took for us regarding solid food may not apply now. The amount of research that we have in hand, the adulterated food that is present in the market, which does more harm than good, and the overall requirement for babies in terms of solid food is very different now. I have personally relied on a lot of research, discussions with my doctor, WHO guidelines, and my personal instincts for the solid food of my baby. Now, when we talk about starting solid food, a lot of people suggest to give more fruits. But I would suggest to give you more of vegetables and less of fruits. I do the same for Varu. I give him lots of vegetables and grains and very little fruit. We have tendency to start weaning our babies with sweet food, thinking that the baby is already accustomed to the sweetness of breast milk or the formula milk, and hence it will be easier for them to adjust to the solid food, which is not right. On the contrary, when you give your baby sweet tasting food in the beginning, they get used to it and they later reject the complex taste of vegetables. There are so many of us who still don't like to eat vegetables like bitter gourd, pumpkin, or bottle gourd. Every 1 in 5 person doesn't like the taste of these vegetables and they don't eat it. And the basic reason for this is lack of exposure to these vegetables in our early childhood. Parents often want their babies to eat what they like and how they like. But we should make sure that our babies are exposed to all sorts of vegetables, including the most complex ones in their early years, so that they are more versatile eaters in later stages of life. There is a detailed research and survey from WHO on the same. I'll leave the link in the description box if you wish to read further. Well, that being said, the first foods that we should include are hand mashed or pureed fruits and vegetables. In vegetables, include fresh green and leafy veggies like carrots, green beans, pumpkin, bottle gourd, potatoes, sweet potatoes, butternut squash, etc. Avoid spinach until your baby is at least 8 months. In fruits, you can try apple, peaches, banana, avocado, papaya, mangoes, pear. In cereals, I would suggest to start with simple grains. You don't need to go for a lot of fancy food. Even the simplest of grains that we eat daily are extremely nutritious for babies. You can try different types of dal. Best is moong dal, tur dal, masoor ki dal and other varieties. I recommend to start chane ki dal a bit later as it is a little heavy on the stomach. You can start rajma, chauli, chane ki dal by 9 months. Include rice, ragi, barley, etc. in your baby's food by 6 months. If you are a non-vegetarian, you can give chicken to your baby by 6 months. However, I would suggest to start fish and egg a little later, probably by 7 months, as they are known to cause allergies. So keep an eye on your baby when you start these. Expose your baby to a lot of variety and texture of food. Try giving them different kinds of food which we eat in our daily life. Try giving them foods like idli, upma, dosa, dal, rice, and roti dipped with curry or sambar, roti dipped in dal, oats, barley, ragi, and a lot of those things. Even if your baby rejects some kind of food, try giving the same food again after a few days. You can also make a list of rejected items for cross-reference so that it will be easier for you to tally. This is what I do. Now, let's talk about the dairy products. Your baby does not need animal milk before 1 year as it has complex proteins which are difficult for babies to digest. You can, however, give small amount of curd, paneer and cheese from 6 months onwards. Milk has a lot of sodium and when we culture milk to produce cheese, the amount of sodium increases. Hence, I would suggest to give cheese in very little quantity. Ghee and butter are considered good fats and can be added to baby's food. One important thing that you need to keep in mind while giving dairy products is that they are known allergens. So be watchful when you include dairy product in your baby's diet for the first time. Make sure you include it in the first half of the day and do not include any new food product that day for your baby. Now, let's discuss about the nuts and dry fruits. They are potential allergens and should be tested individually by 7 or 8 months. Examples of nuts are almond, walnut, hazelnut, cashew, pistachio, groundnut, peanut, etc. They can be given by making a paste or can be given in powdered form by adding it to the food. Do not give whole nuts as they can lead to choking. If your baby is older and has all the molar teeth, then you can give broken nuts under supervision. Now you can give nuts in their natural form or you can soak them or roast them. Raw nuts have more pythic acid. If you roast or soak them, it helps to reduce the pythate levels, making them easier to digest, and it allows more absorption of nutrients. Dry fruits like raisins, apricots, dates, etc. are basically dehydrated fruits which are naturally very high in sugar content. They are also very sticky and affect the oral health and hygiene of your child. Dry fruits often contain sulfur dioxide, which is used as a preservative, and some people are sensitive to them. Make sure you check for the preservative used on the label when you purchase dry fruits. Keep intake of dry fruits less for your baby, and please do not use it to sweeten their food. A lot of us find packaged and processed food like Cerelac or biscuits very healthy and nutritious. But these food items should be the last thing that you should opt for your baby. These commercial products are extremely high in sugar content and they have a lot of chemicals and preservatives. Trust me, a homemade dal rice is far more nutritious and healthy than any of these items that you could give to your baby. These days, there's also a trend to make homemade Cerelac for babies, but this also should be considered only when you're traveling or you need food on the go. Because what happens is when you make homemade Cerelac, you tend to roast and grind all the items and hence they lose their natural texture. As a result, baby is not exposed to these textured food and later the rejection of these items becomes high. Now, let's discuss about sugar, salt and spices. We all know that sugar in any form is the worst choice for babies and adults. In India, childhood obesity is on the rise along with other health problems like diabetes in children, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, and a lot more. Majority of people in India in their 20s to 40s have a lot of health problems like diabetes, stress, heart diseases, and obesity. And almost all of this can be linked to our eating habits and our sugar intake since we were children. The generation then did not have enough research and resources available to make an informed decision. We have it now, so let's make our future generations healthier. There is a published article about the same. I'll leave the link in the description box if you wish to read further. All in all, do not give your babies all those sweet treats like chocolates, cakes, sheera, mithai, fruit juices, etc. You can give them once in a while, that too not before 1 year of age. In fact, I am planning to avoid sugar for Varu at least till he turns 2. Also, do not sweeten your baby's food with sweeteners like honey, jaggery, date syrup, and palm syrup. They are equally unhealthy and should be avoided until the baby is of 1 year. Same goes with salt. Babies need less than 1 gram of sodium per day, which is met by breast milk, curd, vegetables, and a lot of other food items that we give to our babies. High sodium intake in body can cause a lot of health problems and should be avoided. We often hear people around us saying कि अरे बेचारा बच्चा बिना नमक का खाना कैसे खाएगा? कैसी माँ है अपने बच्चे को बिना नमक का खाना खिला रही है? हमने तो अपने बच्चों को हमेशा से नमक खिलाया है. The food is so bland. How will the baby like it? Don't worry about the food being bland. We are used to eating everything with salt. Let's pause for a moment and think. Do babies really know what salt is or how it tastes? They are used to the sweetness of breast milk or the formula milk. So anything that you give to them is new for them. And trust me, it's completely possible to make flavorful food even without salt. This is where spices come into picture. You can add a lot of different varieties of spices like crushed black pepper, hing or asafoetida, haldi or turmeric powder, cumin or jeera powder, coriander powder, oregano, rosemary, basil, and a lot more. Well, all of these ingredients are completely safe to add. Add little quantity of these ingredients in your baby's food and the food will be really flavorful. I add a lot of these spices in my baby's food and he loves having his food without salt and sugar. In fact, sometimes when I eat Varu's leftover, I find it more interesting and more tasty. Let me give you some additional tips about starting solid food for your little one. Give a lot of iron-rich food to your baby as around 6 months the iron reserve in their body starts to decrease and they rely on additional sources for iron. Give them different varieties and texture of food. It is best to move from pureed or hand-mashed food to bite-size or finger food by 7 or 8 months. You don't need to mash rice, pulses, etc. They should just be overcooked and easy to swallow. A lot of people worry about how will babies chew their food as they don't have teeth. Their gums are really strong and teeth are about to emerge at around 7-8 months and hence it is best to give them paper thin slices of vegetables and fruits so that they can learn to chew and chances of rejecting food later becomes less. You can start water by 6 months. However, you don't need to give too much of water as water itself doesn't contain any nutrition. Water should be given after meals or for hygiene purpose. It is best to give breast milk or formula for other hydrating and nutrition requirements. Also offer water in an open cup, sippy cup or 360 cup. Personally, Varu likes to have his water in open cup or a sippy cup. You will have to figure out what works for your baby. It is best to transition your baby to family food as early as possible. Do not force feed or do distraction feeding for your baby and let your baby decide the quantity of food. You don't need to use a lot of fancy or expensive cutlery for your baby. You can use the regular bowls and plates that you use at home. However, I would suggest that in the beginning you use a silicone based and a good quality spoon or else it may hurt your baby. I will leave the link to all the cutlery we use for Weaning in the description box. They are not very expensive and are of good quality. You can check them out. My last and most important tip is that let your baby explore the food. Let them play with it. Let them get messy. After all, it's all new to them. Let them have fun. And I'm sure you too will have precious memories of them making a mess to cherish in the future. If you have any additional questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section via mail or on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to help you. Also, I have a video on my channel about what is the right time to start solid food for your baby. Do check it out. I hope you found this video useful. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for many more amazing videos on baby care, motivation and healthy lifestyle.